Hexagram number 7. The army. Prepare for war. A test about to take place. The army needs perseverance and a strong man. We receive this hexagram when we are about to be challenged by a trying situation or war. Whether the trial be an objective problem, self-conflict, or a situation that threatens our emotional independence. Regardless of its nature, the challenge involves firmly subjugating our childish heart to achieve our goals by way of the creative requires waiting in the correct attitude. A correct attitude is one of inner independence and alertness. We maintain a steady heart regardless of the length of time required to achieve changes. Such inner steadiness accumulates great creative power. This power can be maintained only by strict inner discipline and by holding steadfastly to our principles. The heart that wavers betrays us, as when we vacillate about having taken the Ching path, or when, in punishing others by withdrawing, we do so with a sense of vindication. In such thoughts we abuse power. We achieve no progress, and we create more obstacles. The secret of all progress lies in controlling our inner selves, symbolized here by the image of bringing order to the army. The army refers to achieving the correct relationship between the superior and inferior elements of our personality. Our personality requires a leader who has a strong and persevering attitude, for strength is required during situations in which the undisciplined and spoiled child within us attempts to enforce its will. When the spoiled child rules, it is as if the sergeant has convinced the privates that he knows best how to run the army. Because he lacks an overall perspective, he brings defeat to the army during times of war. Having usurped the place of the leader, the sergeant becomes the inferior man. The troops are the inferiors. When the inferiors are led by the superior man, the army advances and retreats as the situation requires. Because he uses correct means, the good is served and the personality remains strong and superior. The superior man prepares the troops for upcoming battles by explaining to them the need for discipline under fire. They must act only if and when he commands. He informs them that the battle will be lost if the emotions hold sway. The inferiors seem to be simple-minded body intelligence. Body cells inform us of their needs. We are subliminally aware of these nonverbal feelings, but they also emerge verbally as inner voices. If we ignore them, they become insistent and vocal, saying, "I am hungry," or "I am tired." They also respond to information given them by the superior self, as when we reassure them that food is coming shortly, and they agree to be patient. Doctors and dentists frequently use such verbal techniques to acquire the willingness of the inferiors to endure pain and discomfort, something they will do if they are made aware that it is for their own good, and if they are made to realize that their discomfort is temporary and endurable. War in this hexagram refers to long-time inner conflicts between ourselves and others that originally began as lawsuits. A lawsuit that has been resolved by force results in war. Although we may have won the case, as when we have taken our grievances to courts of law and have had the judgments resolved in our favor, the fact that we have resorted to such means creates a war that goes on, perhaps for years. War also refers to individual battles in which we are challenged by people who doubt us or who are envious of our independence. They test to see if our values are firm or real. Some people have actively prowling egos. Wherever they sense areas of weakness and uncertainty, they attack. It seems they want to disprove that truly unselfish good exists, so they may be excused from following the good in themselves. Wars also occur between ourselves and our inferior man. Our marauding ego puts forth doubts. Sometimes these must be combated. At other times we must retreat from them. In all war situations, victory comes when we successfully detach from the situation. This is made possible by returning to the inner stillness symbolized by the serenity of the shining lake. In this state of mind, clarity, inner strength, and emotional independence are restored. In following the principles of the Ching, all challenges must be won by modest means. Any overall wars are to be won through incremental gains that are painstakingly established. After each battle, we consolidate and protect our gains by retreating to restore our inner independence and simplicity. This requires that we sacrifice any sense of power gained from victory. We never attempt wholesale changes, skip steps, or stop to luxuriate in our gains. We keep ourselves guided steadily forward, aware of what has taken place, but not dwelling on it. We never allow our ego to seize anything from it. Changing line number 1. An army must set forth in proper order. If the order is not good, misfortune threatens. Obedience and coordination of the troops means being determined to remain modest, to cling firmly to what is just, and to resist any pressure from our inferiors to plunge ahead and take action. Modesty means being conscientious to do what is right. Obedience of the troops is easier to achieve if we remember that our inferiors respond well if we explain to them the need for discipline, much as a dentist explains the sensation of drilling before he begins. The inferior man, on the other hand, is always a traitor within the ranks and must be directly resisted. To bring the inferior man under control, we need to search out and rid ourselves of any demands based on fear or on selfish or vain considerations. If this effort is unsuccessful, we should prepare to resist any new attempts by the ego to take command. Preparedness gives us strength to keep the ego under control. Changing line number 2. In the midst of the army, good fortune. This line acknowledges the heavy burdens that have been placed on our inferiors. It also counsels that it is the job of our superior self as the leader of the army and its center to encourage the troops to be patient and to endure the difficulties. One tells them with sympathy, "I know it's difficult, but your obedience and loyalty are necessary for everything to work to the best of our interests." Forgive me, I'm going to read that again there. "I know it's difficult, but your obedience and loyalty are necessary for everything to work out to the best interests of all." This both reassures the inferiors and gains their willing assent to follow the correct path. Our superior self in turn serves what is high and good and is obedient to the sage. He adapts to the demands of the time and allows himself to be led as the twists and turns of the battle demand. Through going with the flow, by remaining opaque and unresisting, he finds guidance and is aided in his work. When we become rigid and fearful, the inferior man leads. He does not serve what is higher. He pursues only self-interest and comfort. Changing line number 3. Pre-hunts. The army carries corpses in the wagon. Forgive me. Again, changing line number 3. Perchance, the army carries corpses in the wagon. Misfortune, wrong elements have usurped control, either in the external situation or within ourselves. Sometimes this line is a warning to be on guard against ego elements that try to force things their way, either by their inner resistance or by outright actions. We should not try to overcome the ego, but prevent it from usurping leadership through asserting itself as I. As in, I can't stand this anymore. By the simple trick of asserting that it is ourselves, it gains mastery of our personality. If we deny it, this identity, by saying to it, "You are not me," it remains powerless. The self-image, with its claims of who it is, along with its petty likes and dislikes, becomes real only if we accept its demonic and parasitic assertion that it is us. If this ego self-image takes control during a war, the war will produce corpses. Whenever we strive, our ego is involved. Our true self does not need to contend or strive. If our actions have already led to defeat, we should modestly accept the situation, not allowing hard elements such as anger or pride to take over. If we disperse all such negatives, the bad effect of our mistakes will be dispelled. When we do things incorrectly, a residue of remorse remains, here called corpses, that must be put to rest. We need to forgive ourselves and bury our mistakes along with the injured pride, anger, and impatience that accompany them, that darken our inner light. Changing line number 4. The army retreats. No blame on being confronted by the inferior element in others, or with the situation that arouses our emotions and pressures us to act. We should retreat. Retreat is a disciplined disengagement from all emotional response into neutrality and acceptance of the situation as it is. Disengagement must proceed step by step in a determined way so that we do not change direction or allow ourselves to become further involved. Thus, our army retreats. Changing line number 5. There is game in the field. It furthers one to catch it. Without blame, the evil element has come out into the open to attack. We must punish this element by firmly withdrawing and steadfastly going on our way. Once the evil element has given way, we should let go of the matter and punish no more. To take up new issues or go further now would lead to defeat. In any case, we should not hold to grievances for more than a short time. To do so means that we put the person concerned into a mental prison. As it is said in the Wanderer, Hexagram number 56, penalties should be quickly passing matters, and prisons ought to be places where people are lodged only temporarily, as guests are. They must not become dwelling places. Changing line number 6. The great prince issues commands, founds states, vests families with fiefs. Inferior people should not be employed. The war has been won. If, however, we have used any means other than modesty to achieve success, we should avoid assuming such means to be correct. By such an assumption, we institutionalize them. The path of reticence, wherein slow progress brings about enduring change, is best. This completes hexagram number 7.